First game tonight, Tampa Bay Lightning at the Florida Panthers. Game time, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Puck drops 4 o'clock Pacific time. And, game 2 in this series, the Lightning went down to surprise Florida and surprised Florida, I guess, if you could say. They did that in game 1, giving up the first goal to the Panthers. But then after that, it was absolute suffocation from the Tampa Bay Lightning as they took game 1 to grab a 1-0 lead in that series. The line in tonight's game, Florida minus $1.65. Another big favor at home against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are the two-time defending champions. That's been bet up from minus $1.60. So the zigzag theory in the NBA. There's a zigzag theory in the NHL as well. It didn't work out too well for Nashville Predator bettors, but they're going back again tonight with the Florida Panthers. Total 6.5, over minus $1.15. That number has held steady since it's been sent out. Listed goaltenders tonight, Vasilevsky, of course, will get the start against Bobrovsky, and that's likely going to be the goaltending matchup for the rest of the series for sure. I know one thing, though, in order for the Panthers to have a chance in this series, the home crowd absolutely needs to wake up. This is postseason hockey, guys. This is not a regular Wednesday night in surprise Florida against the Ottawa Senators. This is playoff hockey, and yes, fans have everything to do with it. I can't tell you how many former players and coaches that I have talked to they go into a building and they know it's going to be loud and they can feel the intensity. There is no intensity down in Florida, down in Surprise, Florida. And Surprise is the city that they play in case you're wondering. There is no intensity at this point. If they don't find a way to come up big, and that is not on the ice, off the ice, this is going to be a long series for the Panthers. Not only does the crowd have to realize it's a postseason, you got guys like Jonathan Huberdeau, Sam Bennett, Alexander Barkov, all the big boys for the Florida Panthers. They also need to realize it's the postseason as well. They've been non-existent as they squeak by Washington, and then, of course, lost in game 1 to Tampa. They need to start being the offensive leaders that they are paid to be. I expect that to happen tonight, because if that doesn't happen, this series is over as it goes back to Tampa. I thought that the Panthers came out afraid of what happened last year. And remember last year, Tampa Bay took out Florida in 6 games. And one of the things that set the tone for that entire series was game 1, where the Panthers gave up 3 power play goals. Sound familiar? They did the same thing the other night. I thought they came out a little timid because they didn't want to send Tampa to the box. They didn't want to play physical and lose the battle of special teams. But by them playing timid and then having to play catch up for most of the game, that is where they really got in trouble, especially deep into the game. And you saw the depth that the Tampa Bay Lightning has. And until Florida, the guys that have been there all year long, even their third line guys that are not putting the puck in the net and are not getting on the score sheet, until they show up, Tampa owns this series. And when you talk about experience, if you want to know why experience is a big deal, well, what happens is what you do during the game. And we talked about this yesterday on my radio show about you can't put a tangible on experience. But the only tangible you can come close to is knowing how teams react, and it's really an emotional reaction. We saw Tampa get down 1-0. Well, they didn't panic. There was no panic in their game. They know how to win a Stanley Cup. They won 2 straight. They had no panic in their game, where if Florida gets down, which they did against Tampa, they become uncharacteristic, and that's where they lose the game. Tampa never becomes uncharacteristic because they know they're good enough to win on most nights. The question for me remains for Andrew Burnett's team is can they defend against a team that can play any style that they prefer to play? We've said it all season long, being the top team in points and being the number 1 team in offense, that leads to a fragile team if all of a sudden you can't find that. You don't have defense to rely on anymore. You are an offensive team. That is your identity. And when you lose your identity, you spend the playoff series trying to find it. And often you don't find it because you're playing a superior team. This is a Another situation where I think Burnett is a little bit over his head against John Cooper. I think John Cooper is clearly the better of the two coaches. I thought he was in over his head maybe in round one against Peter Laviolette, and talent just took over. And remember, they were only there was a puck that hit a pipe that would have given the Capitals a 3-1 lead on an empty netter in the series. So they were very lucky to get out of that series. We have seen the Lightning land the first punch. I want to see what the best team in the NHL is going to do to counterpunch this. If they do not counterpunch, guys, this series is over. There is no way they are going up to Tampa and winning 2 games there to put this game back 2-2. So I expect the Panthers, the best team in the NHL point-wise, the best offensive team, if they have something in them, if they refuse to lose, tonight is the night you are going to see it. We are going to take advantage of a number that I think is absolutely generous. The favorite in the series, and we'll go to tonight's selections. We have 2 on this. Here's selection number 1. The favorite in this series is still 23-9 over their last 32 meetings. I can't turn my back on the Panthers just yet. They're 46-9 at home in their last 55 games as a favorite. 48-12 at home in their last 60 overall. Yes, I know that goes back a couple seasons, but that is the culture of who the Panthers are and who they are at home. Remember, don't get caught up in what you just saw, because what you just saw should be left in the past. Any numbers that you think are relevant to what's going to happen in Game 2, throw them out. Numbers tell you where you've been. They will never tell you where they're going. And if the Panthers can win the battle of special teams, they will absolutely flex their muscles in this game. If not, once again, the series is over. We saw Florida earn a league's best 122 points. I think they will come out and play not only better defense offensively, but I also think that they will show a flicker of defensive capability as well, because that's the only way they're going to beat Tampa over a lengthy series. So we're going to go Florida -1.5. We're taking a generous plus $1.55. The second selection on this is I think it's going to be a lot tighter, and Florida has to play a tighter hockey game in order to stay in it. Under 6.5, minus $1.05. I think both numbers are bankroll friendly, and we're going to take advantage of those tonight.